Hi everyone. Welcome to Reddit Vox, the channel where we cover the best, most entertaining Reddit stories. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Let's get started. From r/AskReddit, what crazy story do you need to tell?
So, a few years back, I went to this massive Halloween party with some friends. We were all dressed up, me as a Viking, my buddy as a giant banana, and a couple of others as superheroes. The party was packed, and as you can imagine, the costumes started getting more creative as the night went on. Anyway, we're a few hours in, and everyone's pretty drunk at this point. Then, out of nowhere, this guy shows up in the most ridiculous costume I've ever seen. A giant, inflatable, full-on, anatomically correct, complete with a zipper for the pee hole, which is where his face was poking out. The guy was loving it, getting high fives from everyone, and dancing like his life depended on it. It was all fun and games until things took a turn. At some point, someone at the party thought it'd be a hilarious idea to challenge this guy to a race around the backyard. There's a pool, some lawn furniture, and random decorations everywhere. Inflatable penis guy, clearly down for the challenge, accepts. So now there's a crowd, and people are chanting, "Penis! Penis!" The race starts, and the guy sprints full speed across the yard. But about halfway through, he trips on the edge of the pool and faceplants straight into the water. Everyone's laughing their asses off, thinking it's the funniest thing ever, until we realize this poor dude's inflatable costume is filling up with water like a balloon. He's flailing around, trying to swim, but the costume's too heavy. He's basically a drowning penis at this point. My buddy, the banana, and I rush over to help him out of the pool, but the guy's still half inside the deflating, soggy costume, slipping everywhere and screaming, "Save me! I'm going down!" We finally manage to drag him out, and when we unzip the costume, this guy flops out, soaked to the bone, with the most embarrassed look on his face. Everyone was in tears from laughing so hard, and to this day, that party will always be remembered as the night a penis almost drowned in a pool. Needless to say, he won the race.
So, I was living in this sketchy apartment complex at the time, the kind where you hear weird stuff happening all night but mind your business. One night, I'm chilling in my living room around midnight when I hear this loud bang from my neighbor's place next door. It sounded like someone kicked in the door. At first, I thought, okay, another loud argument or something, not my problem. But then I hear screaming. Not like your normal fight or anything, but legit terrified, blood-curdling screams. Now I'm freaked out. I run to my peephole and see a guy in the hallway, covered in blood, holding a freaking kitchen knife, just standing there, breathing heavily. No one else around, just him. I froze. I'm talking fight or flight, failed kind of frozen. My brain screaming, "Dude, do something," but I couldn't even move. Then, after what felt like forever, he starts walking down the hallway like nothing happened. I'm still peeking through the peephole, completely in shock. Finally, after he disappears around the corner, I snap out of it and call 911. Cops show up, and I'm trying to explain to them what I saw, but it felt surreal, did I even see that? They go to my neighbor's apartment, and the door's wide open. Apparently, the guy stabbed his roommate during a drug-fueled breakdown or something. It was bad. The roommate survived, thankfully, but I later found out the guy with the knife was off his meds and had a total psychotic break. I moved out a few months later because, honestly, I couldn't sleep after that. I still get chills thinking about it. Moral of the story: always listen to your gut, man. That place gave me bad vibes from day one.
Okay, this one still feels unreal even though I lived it. So, back in college, my buddies and I decided we'd go on this camping trip. Classic weekend in the woods, too much beer, telling dumb ghost stories around the fire, the works. We found this spot in the middle of nowhere, deep in the forest, and everything was chill for the first couple of nights. On the last night, we're all sitting around the campfire when we hear this weird, rustling noise coming from the trees. At first, we think it's an animal, maybe a deer or something, but the sound keeps getting closer. One of my friends, let's call him Tony, gets up with a flashlight to check it out. He walks a few feet away from the fire, and then we hear him shout, "Guys, come look at this." So, we all grab our lights and walk over. Tony is standing in front of this massive hole in the ground. Like, not a little pit, but a deep, wide-ass hole just randomly in the middle of the forest. No explanation, no sign of it being man-made. Nothing. We shine our flashlights down there, but it's so deep that we can't see the bottom. Naturally, because we're idiots, we decide to drop some rocks in to see how far it goes. But no matter how big the rocks, we never hear them hit the bottom. At this point, everyone's a little freaked out, but Tony, being Tony, suggests we throw a whole log down there to see if that'll make a sound. We grab a big log, toss it in, and still nothing. Just dead silence. Now we're all standing around this hole, getting serious bad vibes. We decide to head back to the campfire. But as we're walking away, we hear this deep, low hum coming from the direction of the hole. Like something vibrating or humming underground. We noped the hell out of there so fast. Packed up all our gear in the middle of the night and drove back to campus. To this day, we have no idea what that hole was or why it was making that sound. No one believes us when we tell the story, but all 5 of us heard it. I haven't gone camping since.
Alright, this is one of those stories that still makes me question reality. So, a couple of years ago, I went on this solo backpacking trip through Europe. I was feeling adventurous and wanted to prove to myself that I could handle it alone. Everything was going great. Met some cool people, saw amazing sights, until I got to this small town in Austria. The place was like a postcard. Mountains, lakes, super picturesque. I found this cozy little hostel that was cheap and run by a sweet older couple. Everything seemed perfect. The first night, I was staying in a shared room with 2 other girls I hadn't met yet. When I came back from exploring that evening, one of the girls was in the room. We made some small talk. She seemed nice, a little quiet. And then I went out again for dinner. When I got back, she was in bed, and the other girl still hadn't shown up, so I got ready for bed too. At some point in the middle of the night, I woke up to this weird clicking noise. Like someone was tapping something metallic against a glass. I figured it was just someone messing with their phone or water bottle, but it kept going, so I opened my eyes. That's when I saw her, the girl from earlier, standing by the window in the dark, completely still, just staring outside. Now this wasn't a big window, just a small one facing the street, and there wasn't much to look at, just the empty road and a couple of streetlights. But she stood there for what felt like forever, not moving, not making a sound, except for that weird clicking noise. I lay there frozen, watching her for what must have been at least 10 minutes, debating whether to say something or just pretend I was still asleep. Finally I whispered, "Are you okay?" She didn't respond, didn't even flinch, just kept staring out the window. At this point I'm thoroughly freaked out, so I decide to just go back to sleep, figuring maybe she's sleepwalking or something. The next morning she was gone. Her bed was neatly made, and all her stuff was gone. I didn't see her at breakfast, and when I asked the hostel owners about her, they just kind of shrugged and said they hadn't seen her either. I never saw her again, and the other girl never showed up. To this day I have no idea what that was about. I told some friends later and they were like, maybe she was a ghost. I laughed it off at the time, but honestly, who knows? The whole thing had a seriously eerie vibe. And that clicking sound still haunts me.
Alright, I've been sitting on this one for a while, because I honestly don't know how to feel about it to this day. So, a few years ago, I was working this dead-end retail job at a pretty sketchy strip mall. The kind of place where weird stuff happens all the time, but you just go with it because, well, it's retail and you need the paycheck. Anyway, one night, I'm working the closing shift, and it's just me and this other dude, we'll call him Dan. The place was dead, like maybe 2 customers in the whole store, and it's almost closing time. We're cleaning up, trying to wrap things up early, when this woman walks in. She's off. Like, you know that feeling when someone doesn't seem all there? But she's not stumbling drunk or anything, just off. She starts wandering around the aisles, not really looking at anything in particular, just kind of lingering. Whatever, right? I keep an eye on her, but I figure she's harmless. Dan goes to the back to grab some stuff, and I'm alone at the register when she comes up. She puts this random pack of gum on the counter, stares at me for a second, and then asks, "Do you believe in demons?" Now, look, I'm not religious, but something about the way she said it made my skin crawl. I tried to play it off, like, not really. Why? And she just smiles. It wasn't a friendly smile though, more like a "I know something you don't" kind of smile. Then she says, "You should. They're always watching." At this point, I'm fully freaked out but trying not to show it. I ring her up, she pays, and then she just stands there staring at me, still smiling. Finally, she says, "You're marked. They're coming for you soon." Then she just walks out. Like, super casual, as if she didn't just say the creepiest shit ever. Dan comes back a minute later, and I tell him what happened. He just laughs it off, saying she's probably some local nutcase. I laughed along, but I wasn't okay. The rest of the shift, I kept thinking about what she said. The whole marked thing kept replaying in my head. The real kicker? That night, after I got home, my apartment caught fire. Straight up. I was asleep, and the smoke alarm woke me up just in time to get out. The fire department said it was an electrical issue or some bullshit, but all I could think about was that woman's creepy smile and her "they're coming for you soon" line. I never saw her again, and I quit that job not long after, but to this day, I still wonder, was it a coincidence or something else?
Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It means a lot.